Hello and welcome to the Enchantress Society podcast with me, Tia Johnson. Put your muggle life on pause and travel with me to a place of magic, empowerment, and wonder as I interview prominent guests in the spiritual world and spill the enchanted tea on all of the ways you can conspire to craft the magical life you deserve. Always and forever, the Enchantress Society podcast is your virtual coven where I am rooting for you to succeed every step of the way. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Enchantress Society podcast with yours truly. So here we are, cultivating inner peace in a chaotic world. And I want to just make a clearer distinction here because I know if you are at peace with yourself internally, then your external world will be peaceful. I understand it. The angle I'm taking here is that while we can be peaceful internally, while we can cultivate that if we are working on it, there's still going to be external things happening. It's like the ongoing joke of you could be as spiritual as you want and connected with the universe, but you still have to pay bills. You still have to make sure your house clean, right? It doesn't absolve you from other things or being, even if it's indirectly in the presence of something, and indirectly meaning something is happening maybe in your city, but it doesn't impact you. But you want to be aware of certain things and to have that discernment when you go out in the world, so that way you can look at certain things, observe it, and not play a part of the silly games. But because you are aware, you have that discernment, you know better who to talk with regarding certain things, who not to talk to at all, just navigating the world. So I think that's where some people get tripped up, is that once they begin their spiritual path, they start to let other things go. And then when they do have to deal with certain things that may be unfortunate, or you just don't want to do it, a lot of things start to happen that's unfortunate. Okay. And sometimes people ignore things and so forth. So I want to have this episode be of value in a way where there's multiple levels of understanding. Okay. I understand that your inner peace dictates your outside world, your external world. However, you're still living in this 3D that's shifting to the next next dimension. So you're going to have to deal with a few things. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. So if you are not connected with me on Instagram, let's fix it. Let's get connected. I am at cosmic_witch_goddess. And the podcast Instagram page is enchantress_society_podcast. Also, applications are open. I'm going to spray a little bit of this high frequency infused nostalgic manifestation mist as I'm spraying this. She makes bank from Freak Rituals. So if you haven't already submitted your applications for the Enchantress Lounge, there's still time to do so. Ooh, love spraying that mist. There's still time. Okay, this is a one-on-one mentorship with me for, or I was about to say 6 months. For 3 months, okay, for 3 months. And it is a curated program for you. So every person who gets approved will have a different experience because it's not module based. It is per you based. So I will develop strategic plans. Excuse me. Ooh, all the mist made me sneeze. I try to hit pause in recording, but I didn't have time. So hopefully that noise doesn't impact the sound too much. All right. So yes, this is a one-on-one mentorship with me for 3 months, and we address what you want to address. There is a 60-minute, typically that it tends to be 60-minute, sometimes a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer. session to dive into what you want to address, see where you're at in your journey. Okay, there'll be bi-weekly calls. So you can learn more about this. I explained this in depth in 2 episodes ago, I believe 3 episodes ago. So you can just scroll back, all right, and hear me explain what the Enchantress Lounge is all about. Okay, so again, get your applications in. It's 10 questions, so not too much. All right, I would love to work with you. And if you want to know what it is like to work with me, especially one-on-one, you can just scroll back a few more episodes, and there are multiple interviews with clients and students who have worked with me in the past. Okay, so you could check that out there. It's a lot of fun. We get the work done, but it's not boring. Okay. All right, so you can apply. I'll put the link in the episode bio so that way you can learn more and see if it's a good fit for you. All righty. So I want to take a deep breath and draw one card for a theme, a guidance for this episode, because sometimes cultivating your inner peace and maintaining that, especially in the beginning for people, can be, I'm getting a vision of turbulent waters, like a boat that is just going over the harsh waves, and you're just navigating, just having all your strength while you're turning the wheel, and it's a lot going on. So it can be a bit harsh in the beginning because you are deprogramming all the narratives that were planted in your mind. You are detaching from things, situations, people who aren't helping you, that aren't helping you. So it's a lot. Okay. And then the better you get at it, it becomes second nature. And then you get to the point where things are just laughable. You're just looking at it and you're thinking, not my monkey, not my circus. That's going to be a catchphrase for you eventually. Another catchphrase will be play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You're going to get to a point where even if you are, again, in the, not necessarily in the midst of things, but you just see these things. Maybe you're 1 or 2 degrees of separation from something, and you're looking at this and or at the situation, you think that's the hill you're going to die on. This is crazy. This is laughable. You're still focusing on that. Did you not see what's going on here? Do you not see the pattern of what's happening to you? And maybe you want to change? No. So there will be a point where things will just be laughable. Not in a sense of you are laughing at someone. It's just that what else can you do? You just have to go, this shit is crazy. Are you serious? I'm not going to partake in this anymore. And that's the point that we want to be in, the point of this is crazy. I will bow out. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to mind my business, and life is going to be good. All right. So let's pull this card. And I like this. Before I reveal this card, let's take a deep breath. Here we go. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go. All right. Inhale, hold it, and release. Let's do one more time. Inhale, hold, and release. All right. So the card I picked, well, I didn't pick, but I pulled, is partnership. So let's get a clarifying card. I know I said one, and the mystery. Okay, so so this is a journey that we all must go on, and Spirit doesn't want me to reveal too much. The mystery. So partnership and mystery. This also means to work with Spirit, the mysteries of Spirit, and let Spirit do its thing. So what does that have to do with this episode? Well, cultivating inner peace, especially when things are getting heated, especially when people are trying to press your button, you will be also working with your higher self, with Spirit, the universe, and partnership, because you're going to get that bird's eye view. You're going to start to see, I don't want to say through people, but you're going to see more of people internally. So when someone's trying to personally attack you, and I'm not saying don't defend yourself, okay? What I'm saying is you're having a conversation, the conversation turns to a debate, then the person doesn't want to hear the truth, and now they're going to say things like you're stupid or and try to call you a name because that's their defense mechanism because they're wrong, right? So you'll be able to see, oh, this person is someone who's never been told no, or this is someone who they want to be the victim, or this person just isn't ready for this conversation yet. So you start to see internally this person as opposed to, I don't want to say the facade, but just what you see at the surface level, and then engage in an argument with them, and then have that energy stay with you throughout the day. And you're just saying, yeah, this person is so stupid, it's offensive, blah, 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 blah. Right. Maybe they're not stupid. Maybe they just haven't been exposed to certain things. And then that goes back to, well, they also didn't want to listen. They didn't want to hear. They didn't really want that conversation. So you're working in partnership with your higher self, the universe, to know that I don't have to engage in this conversation, to know how to respond better as opposed to being reactive. And there are times that you do need to be reactive. You know, I'm not a person who goes, it's okay. Someone hits you, you know, maybe they're having a bad day. Just because they're having a bad day doesn't mean that they get to lay their hands on you and do crazy stuff. I never understood that. How people give certain people passes for dumb stuff. Sometimes people need to learn the hard way. All right. Anyway, so that's the partnership card. No, the more you work in unison with spirit, the more things are going to just really work in your favor. Even if it's something that you don't want to do, ask your spirit guides, your angels to go before you. I talked about this in previous episodes, how that's helped me in the past. Okay. So keep that in mind. And the mystery. Sometimes we're just not meant to see certain things ahead of time. I had to take a sip of that coffee. It's like this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do readings for a while, because a lot of times people want to hear what they want to hear as opposed to receiving actual insights to help them. I'm not a reader who tells you what you want to hear so you can go be happy and do whatever you want. All right. That's not helpful. So when I give readings, I don't do this often, but when I give readings and spirit doesn't want me to see something or is not something for the person to know, I would just see a white mist. So I see visions of landscapes and scenarios, things like that, paths. And then it gets to a point where it's a white mist. And it's like, okay, stop. I'm not meant to see it. This person meant to go on their journey and things to be revealed as they progress in the journey. And sometimes people don't want to hear that. They want to hear things from A to Z. If that's the case, you would not have incarnated on this earth. Okay. So just a little thing there, little note. If you're someone who gives readings or clear buoyant and you feel a little self-conscious because you're giving readings and you can't see beyond a certain point because you're not meant to. And people need to understand it. All right. So, and that's part of cultivating inner peace, being able to stand your ground and reiterate what you are saying, despite the fact that someone is unhappy. You just say, Spirit doesn't want me to see beyond this. And I mean, what are you going to do, right? Make up something and then they're going to come back to you and say, oh, this didn't work good. All right. Anyway, cultivating inner peace in a chaotic world. A few things I want to focus on in this episode as an overarching theme. So the beliefs that hold people back, right? Because the limiting beliefs can hold you back from cultivating your inner peace. A prime example of this is people who are people pleasers. A lot of people pleasers get conditioned to becoming that because something happened. They don't want that thing to happen again. They don't want to let people down. It's a whole slew of things that can cause people to become people pleasers. And because of that, it can cause so many delays in your inner peace because you're giving so much of yourself to everyone else. And there's nothing energy left for you, but that's okay because you did everything for everyone else. So that's something that needs to end. Okay. Because you will never make people like that happy. They're depending on your energy to be happy. They depend on your energy, period, which makes them an energy vampire. All right. Minding your business and staying hydrated. This is an ongoing joke, right? Stay hydrated, mind your business. Okay, travel, stay private. I was joking with a friend. Last month now, it's already July. I can't keep up with the time. So I went to it was a friend's birthday get together, and I saw someone who I haven't seen in a while. And she said, "Oh, you look great, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Yeah, I mind my business. I stay hydrated." And, that's always a good joke. Everyone always goes, "Ah." And so, but it's true. The more you mind your business, and by extension, don't let people emotionally dump on you. Don't let people tell you their stupid drama that they are constantly putting themselves in. Life it gets really better. Your skin gets clearer. Weight gets released because you're not picking up that energetic weight that you're holding for other people. Okay, you're not stressed. All right, things just get better. And then also you become more private, which means less people in your business, less unqualified people giving you advice. And I have this conversation with my brother so many times. What I call unqualified people, meaning people who aren't doing, and this is fine if they don't want to progress in their life, right? Some people are just like, I'm cool where I'm at right here, and that's fine. But there are a lot of people who really aren't happy about where they are in life. And many times it's because they didn't want to change. They didn't want to do certain things. Something got hard. There was one speed bump, and now it's, oh my gosh, I can't do it. They don't want to go the extra mile, and that's fine. But they don't get to shit on people or try to shit on people who want to go for it, who do go for it. And it's rough. It's not easy. There's many lonely nights where you're trying to figure out how to get things done, especially if you're an entrepreneur. All right. And when you do start to see just a smidget of success, you're like, okay, all right, you get that momentum. But the people who didn't go for it and aren't happy, they want to tear you down just for that. And you're thinking, well, I'm not where I want to be. It doesn't matter. This is what I tell people. It doesn't matter. You got a few more paces past what someone else thought you would go, or just past them, period. So that's a problem for them. So this is why this cultivating inner peace is so important, because there will be people who will try to bring you down. Okay. There will be people who want to leech off of you, feel entitled. It's going to happen. All right. So cultivating that inner peace will help you to gracefully exit out of situations, gracefully let people go, because that's very hard for a lot of people. So we're going to dive into this. But yeah, I mean, it's always funny, just minding your business, being private, because like I was saying with the unqualified people, it's it's sort of like when my pop told me when I was a kid, the loudest person in the room is the weakest person. And it's always the person who has the most to say who should not be talking. I know that might sound harsh, but that is the reality. Time and time again, people would say things, and then I would learn about, someone will tell me something about something, and I go, oh my gosh, the nerve of them talking. They're the last person to be saying anything. So, keep in mind, all advice is not good advice. And just because it comes from someone who you know or whatever, really examine who they are before you accept what they say. Because there are a lot of people who are not qualified to give advice, not qualified to say anything, who want to say things. It's incredible, especially when people talk about certain athletes. It's like, when's the last time you did a jumping jack? And it's so funny because when you say that, then the rebuttal is they don't have to do a jumping jack to say, no, yes, they do. You don't work on that athlete's level at all. At all. You cannot possibly know what's going through their mind, that situation, because there's always people who say, if that was me, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. You haven't been in a situation remotely similar to that. You don't know how you would react. You can't say, if that was me, this is what I would have done. No, if you were in a similar situation, then maybe. But I just listen to people talk sometimes, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, you would punk out. You really would. You really would. I know I'm going a little bit off tangent, but I need to express this because this happens so many times. And this is what can easily rev people up in the wrong way when they don't focus on their inner peace, or when they come across people who they think they can have this conversation with and you really can't. So the inner peace will help you to zoom out and really see what's going on here. It's not that the person wants to give a good critique. What they're really saying is, I'm this person that's big, bad, whatever, or let me like just say what I would have done. You haven't been in a situation similar to that, let alone that actual situation. So I can't really wholeheartedly believe that's what you would do. Okay. All right. Just point that out there. All right. So, and then lifestyle. I'm going to talk a little bit about lifestyle because this is what's going to help. And the lifestyle focus on, your eating habits, your dressing habits, what you do throughout the day, stuff like that. All right. So let's talk about what inner peace is. So inner peace is when you're making this conscious decision, okay, to basically remain calm, that spiritual calm, that mental calmness, all right, in the presence of things that could stress you or in the presence of stressors. So I have a story. How can I say this story? Because I want to I'm going to get to the footnotes of this story. So there was a time, this was many years ago, where I remained absolutely calm in this situation. Of course, underneath, so the way I describe it as Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Departed, where he's explaining to the psychiatrist, like, oh, on the outside, I'm calm, but on the inside, I'm like, he's showing his hand, like shaking like that. So there are times where, yeah, I did have that inner peace before I knew what inner peace was, but there was still that little bit of static or like edginess that how I describe it, where it's like, okay, I need to find a solution. What am I going to do? Let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. So yeah, there is a certain level of peace, but there's also that hyperdrive, if you will, of me trying to find a solution. But the thing is, I didn't panic. I didn't, get angry like, oh my God. And then it's crazy because I had reached out to like some people for help, or it was one person. No, there's two people at the time. No one showed up, which goes back to the other episode where I talked about be your own, backup person. All right. Not saying that you can't have people who back you up, but you got to put yourself there first. And the inner peace will help you to clear the smoke in the situation and figure out, okay, go left, go right, left, right. Okay. So I'm not saying there won't be times where you might have a little freak out session and you're like screaming like, what the is going on? But overall, you're going to be able to really navigate situations so that way you're not the person that just loses their shit. Okay. So that's the internal piece. Being able consciously to be calm in a situation that is stressful. Someone yelling at you at a meeting and you're just like, you know, there was one time someone approached me and their voice was loud. They were very forward. And I just looked at them like as if they had 5 heads. And then they just calmed down and repeated themselves. I really just looked at them. I'm just like, they're waiting for it. Like, okay. And then he realized that I don't have a problem with people who are just animated when they talk, but sometimes people are used to being huffy and puffy when they talk and get things done, and it's just you could just talk. All right, so let's talk about limiting beliefs, okay? Because it's based on fear and doubt, and I like when people had that acronym of fear, false evidence appearing as real, because a lot of times the fear that we think of is something that we think about in the future. Oh, if I do this, I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to be humiliated. People are going to think I'm stupid. And that's typically not the case, especially because what I notice is that, and I tell my clients this soon as this all the time, the overthinkers or sometimes they think that what they're doing isn't enough and so forth. And I say to them, the fact that you are thinking that what you're doing is enough means that it is enough. And you are a high achiever who's constantly reevaluating who you are because you want to make sure that it is, in fact, more than enough. So whenever someone explains to me this situation, and they say things like that, I already know that they already gave their 100% and they probably think it's about 70 or 80%. And those people who talk a different way, I know they didn't do shit or they half-assed it and they're expecting level A accolades, which is mind-blowing to me. Wow. So let's talk about these limiting beliefs. I can't. Every time I see this phrase, I think about what my mom told me as a kid, because while I was good at math, I wasn't good at the word math problems because I am an overthinker. And in those math problems, they always included a sentence or two that had nothing to do with the problem. And I would just get so caught up in it, like, why is this here? So, and my mom said, 'cause I said, I can't do this. And my mom said, can't isn't in your vocabulary. So combine that with what my papa told me, don't let anyone bogart you. And now you have a juggernaut or your hand. So I can. Whenever you think about I can't, think about, I don't want to say just how you can, but ask yourself, why are you saying that you can't? Can you break this down in small pieces? Okay. And of course, there's always going to be that one person that's going to be a smart ass and say something like, oh, well, if you jump off the side of a mountain, you can't fly, even if you say you can. It's like, yeah. I just have to bring it up because I know someone listening to this will come across the person who's trying to play devil's advocate, but they're really not. Okay. And so, you could you could just have that conversation or not with them. You could just say, yeah, that's not the point here. Like, yes, there are certain rules of this planet. Okay. Like, yeah, but we're talking about personal growth here. Okay. I don't, for example, I don't know how to do that. Nowadays, you can just talk to your phone. You can just say, hey, Siri, and ask a question. And either, okay, I said that in my phones. You could say that, or you can, oh, sorry. So when you say that, Siri's either going to tell you the actual answer, or Siri's going to give you resources that you can click on. So now it's just a matter of asking a question. You have YouTube, you have Google. All right. So there are many ways to do things to find out how to do it. A lot of times it just takes a little bit of research. There are so many things available for people these days. And if only, even if 30 minutes was spent doing research, you'd be amazed at what you find to help you along your journey. I shouldn't speak up because it's better to be quiet and agreeable. Here's the thing, if you don't speak up when you're supposed to, that's going to create an energetic disruption, which will eventually show up in the physical. This is why a lot of people have issues with their throat, because they're not being expressive, they're not speaking up, they're not speaking their truth. And I mean, in a sense of, and it's funny because I had to clear my throat to make sure I'm really bringing in this point. Now, will there be times where you have issue with your throat because you have a cold? Yes, of course. Now, the difference is when you're constantly having issues with your throat. Now you have to examine what's the real problem here. Okay. Get to know yourself better, and then you can understand why your body does certain things at certain times. But yeah, every time I hear that and someone tells me, I ask them to explain more about what's going on. And then I ask them the follow-up questions. And more times than not, they're not being expressive enough. And it shows up in the physical. And also, I just want to stress this too. We are, and I talked about this in my master classes, we are energetic beings existing on or in multiple dimensions. So when I say, when you hear people say energetically is going to show up in the physically in the physical, and that's where you're going to have your dis-ease. That's what we mean. Okay. Because things manifest on this level. So when you're going through a lot of issues and it's medical, start to think about spiritually what could be the root of this. Okay. I'm not saying don't go to the doctors either. Go to the doctors. Okay. I'm just saying it's levels to it. Okay. I'm not that great of a people person. The one thing that breaks my heart is when people say there's nothing special about me. I'm not special. I'm not creative. There's not, here's the thing. Everyone has something unique about them. Okay. So when people say, oh, you're not special, you are, is that don't take that, being special and use that as entitlement. Okay. Being special in regards to you can be creative in an artistic way. You can maybe be a great speaker. You can be someone who's great with helping people dress well. Cause when we are dressing well, we're going to look good. We're going to feel good. Okay. You may be great with makeup or tattooing, with science. It varies. Okay. So, start to understand why you're special and your gifts. Or I've tried, it's too late, they're better, I don't deserve. So those are some of the main limiting beliefs. And I will say this with the I don't deserve. You you do deserve things when you put the work in. You deserve things when you put the work in. Sometimes people use the word or the phrase stay humble as a way to keep you from expanding. Okay. This is why you have to understand who's telling you what. Going back to what I was saying earlier, how some people are not qualified to give advice. But if there is that person who is qualified and they want to help you and they want to make sure that you don't lose yourself as you're gaining success and recognition, you're growing in your career, and they are someone who you respect, admire, and they tell you, hey, stay humble, don't lose yourself, don't become ungrateful. That's different than someone telling you, stay humble, don't forget about us little people when you make it and when you go Hollywood. And that person can be joking. Again, it depends on who's saying it and their tone. Because you could be cool with someone for many years, and then that the little expression in their tone, just that tone shift, and oh snap, they're jealous. Now, if they don't check their jealousy and they start to do more things, you're going to have to let them go. So don't think that you don't deserve things that you didn't put the work in for. Okay. Don't let that phrase stay humble, be humble, trick you into being so humble that you don't you don't allow yourself to receive your, not just your manifestations, but allow yourself to receive the credit, the admiration of your peers. If people want to give you, your flowers and so forth, let them do that. Okay. Don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to let people know what you have accomplished. That matters. There are many unsung heroes, and I get that. However, there are times where the light does need to be on you, and there's nothing wrong with that. And don't let people take your shine either. So, yes, I mean, you do deserve it after you put the work in, for sure. For example, if you're going to the gym, do you not deserve an amazing body if you're actually doing the work in the gym? Yeah, of course you deserve that amazing body. You put the work in. All right, so I'm just going to repeat these common limiting beliefs. Once I scroll up to my notes. And it's so interesting because there are a lot of intentional, or a lot of good people with good intentions, and they limit themselves because of really of who they are around, just convince them otherwise. So here we go. I can't, I don't, I shouldn't, I'm not, I've tried, it's too late, they're better, I don't deserve. All right. So don't let that stop you from getting to your inner peace, because when you are saying things like I've tried and it's something that is your passion, it's something that it is your calling, is what you meant to do, even if it's in your career, it doesn't have to be with entrepreneurship. If it's something in your career, if you don't speak up, for example, I shouldn't speak up about what I've been doing because so and so knows what I'm doing. I don't have to say no. You don't know what they're actually paying attention to, or even if they know you're doing a great job, it doesn't mean they're going to say, hey, Samantha, you know what? I'm going to give you a raise. I'm going to give you this bonus. Maybe, but keep track of what you're doing and go get that opportunity, right? So you won't have that inner peace, because eventually you're going to have some resentment. So and so know I've been doing the work and I haven't gotten a raise or a promotion in 3 years. And, but Johnny, in accounting, whatever, got the promotion, so whatever it is, you're going to become resentful. So this is what I mean about how these limiting beliefs can impact your your inner peace, because you need to speak up. I cannot not speak up. Okay. I have to. It's something that's really pressing, something that just weighing heavily on my chest. I won't be at peace unless I speak up. All right. And it doesn't mean that you have to be rude when you're speaking up. Always be professional. I like to say, keep the gloves on unless you really had to take the gloves off. Oh, did you guys hear that? It just started thundering here. Oh, I love it. I love it. I know this mic is so good, you may not have heard it. But whenever I hear thunder and see lightning, it automatically makes me think of Goddess Kali, because that's how she appeared to me so many years ago. It was I talked about it in many episodes ago, and the fact that this is coming up now just is a symbol that the paths are being cleared. So this inner peace. If you're having some issues with your inner peace, expect things to just be moved out your way. Okay. And the rain's pouring now, so things are going to get cleansed. This is great. All right. So yeah, so those limiting beliefs are based in fear and self-doubt. Sometimes your peers around you are going to try to convince you otherwise, make you doubt yourself, second guess yourself. So make sure that you are questioning what is being told to you. Make sure you're questioning your thoughts, because all your thoughts and emotions are not real. I know when people say that, it's like, what are you talking about? Not real. Remember, we are existing in multiple dimensions and we are having an experience here. All right. So combine that experience. We are observing things with people who have told you so many narratives that you think that's how you're supposed to think. And when you start to re-examine things, you are re-examining your beliefs. And that's where you can come to the conclusion, or not can, you will come to a conclusion whether or not those beliefs hold up. Okay. And for example, one of the things that I've heard time and time again growing up, just being in different situations, hearing people talk, all men are dogs, all men this. Now, thankfully, the women in my family didn't talk like that. But again, just hearing other people talk. Now, all I can't even talk. Now, are all men dogs? No, of course not. That's a blanket statement. That's ridiculous, right? But a lot of women grow up thinking that, right? So then what happens? That limited belief that all men, however many billions of men on the planet, are dogs. They're going to start to see that because they've been taught that all men did X, Y, Z. That limited belief now became your core belief. So you have to re-examine that. And you will find that there are a lot of great guys out there, a lot. Okay. It's just that sometimes, unfortunately, people entertain the wrong people over and over again. And that falls back on them, right? Because a good person is going to make you step your game up. They're going to elevate you, which means there's going to be a healing process. So you're going to look at yourself, right? You're going to have to change. And that is a lot for people. That is scary. And most people don't want to do it. So it's easier to say, well, my relationship's crappy because all men are dogs. Okay. So it's based on fear and doubt. All right, so recognizing the impact of external chaos and stress on your inner state. So know that what you can and cannot do and what you want and do not want to do. So when you think about it, when you're thinking of the impact of external chaos, on your inner state, we can be triggered, right? Even if we are healing, there are times where certain things are going to pop up because healing is an ongoing process. You won't be as bad. I don't want to say as bad. You won't be as vulnerable or sensitive as when you first started your healing process. But, there will be times, maybe a birthday of a loved one, you go, oh, or, something that brings back a memory. But here's the thing, after a while, you're going to be able to understand how to handle that. Oh, you know what? I need a timeout. Or when this happens, I know this is what I need to do. Maybe not a timeout, but maybe I need to get some fresh air. I need to talk to someone, whatever the case may be. So now this goes on to know what you can and cannot do. People will try to peer pressure you into falling aligned with a certain narrative or a certain whatever's trending at the moment. And if you don't care about it, then you must be a horrible, terrible person. And the thing is, are you supposed to care about everything that's going on in the world and different, like it doesn't make any sense. And I've seen, for example, and this is, I'm going to say at the lowest level, and by law I don't mean bad, I just mean just scale wise, that there are things on the grand scale globally that people want you to be so invested in, even though that's not going to pay your bills, not going to help you. It's like I let other people handle that. At the most basic level, I've seen people who at the checkout, the person at the register asked them, would you like to donate the remainder change to XYZ initiative, charity, whatever? Or would you like to donate $1, something like that? And when the person says no, have you seen the reaction of some of the people at the register? Their nose turns up like, how dare you not donate your 65-cent difference to XYZ foundation? And here's the thing. Maybe that person, for whatever reason, didn't want to do it. Okay. I'm not going to pocket watch anyone. I'm not going to say, well, it's just 65 cents. Maybe that person doesn't know about the organization. And so they're just like, I'm good. Maybe they just didn't want to partake. Maybe they've done research on that organization and knows that out of 65 cents, only 5 cents is going to the actual people who need it. And the administration takes the 60 cents. And meanwhile, that person at the register didn't do their research and they're just like, meh, you're not giving change to this thing that I want you to, what? That's the thing. Everyone doesn't have to participate in everything. Some things you can change, some things you cannot change. Some things you, as I was saying, what you want to do and don't want to do. And that's okay. You don't have to be a superhero for every single thing that comes up on your news feed, every single thing that people want you to be a part of. That's not how this world works. When you really understand your purpose and that's not in my path to focus on that. My path is this, this, and this. That's for someone else. Full stop. That's okay. So I'm saying this because that can cause some disruption with yourself. You might feel, oh, was I a piece of shit for not doing it? This is what I hear. Oh, like, should I have donated? Like, I didn't really want to. I didn't get the cause or I'm not with that. It's like, no, that's okay. You don't have to participate in everything. And people don't get to make you feel guilty because of that. Okay. So some things to keep in mind. So understand what you can and cannot control. You don't have to change your social media profile to, something that's trending at the moment. You don't have to donate to something because someone has a GoFundMe account that allegedly the money's supposed to go somewhere. You don't. Okay. It's not your job. Okay. If you want to partake, you want to volunteer, that's fine, but it's not your job. Next, so practical strategies for cultivating space for peace and tranquility. There are many ways to tackle this. One, I got rid of my cable probably 2 years ago now. One of the best things I did. One of the best things I could have done. I get my news from various sources, and what I do is I compare and contrast a bit. I like to hear opposing opinions because a lot of times that opposing opinion is really someone telling the truth who is unfortunate in receiving backlash for wanting to tell the truth, and people try to smear their name. So a lot of times it's not opposing opinions, it's actually the truth that people are just trying to keep at bay. So start to question things. Don't just watch one news network if you're still watching the news. But I would say, if I were to make a recommendation about this, I would say get rid of your cable. Okay. Get your news from various sources. Listen to people who have apparent opposing opinions, and then make conclusions for yourself. Okay. Another strategy that will help you with peace and tranquility. All right. Things to do before, checking your phone and interacting with the world. So have some things that you do, whether it's meditating, exercising, breath work, journaling. I don't care what it is. Just have some things you do before you get connected to the world. Okay. There are some people who I can talk to any time of the day, and it's always is good. Even if it's a controversial topic, we can still have a conversation about it. There are some people who I cannot talk to about certain things at all. And there are other people who I can't talk to about certain things, certain times of the day, right? Because I like to mind prep in the morning. So I can't talk with certain people who get emotionally caught up in certain situations, and then they want to be a little bit combative. I don't need that in the morning. I don't need that at all, but I definitely don't want to talk about that in the morning. And then I got to spend time getting that out of my system, that annoyance, which could take, I don't know, an hour, who knows? Oh my goodness, the thunder is crazy. I don't know if you can hear this. It was a big boom. I love it. That is confirmation, y'all. I love it. Yes. So know who you can and can't talk to, and understand just those things. Okay. Because again, when it comes to cultivating inner peace and you're checking your phone and you haven't curated your algorithms, meaning you haven't liked mostly positive posts, comment on positive posts, say positive posts, and you're getting a lot of drama, that's not going to help your inner peace. You're going to wake up in the morning and start off with drama. How is that helping you? It's not. It's not. Your nervous system is going to get revved up because your nervous system doesn't know that that's not you. Your nervous system is just taking this in as you're getting angry. You might read something about someone being dumb in their relationship or being dumb in life, some gossip or whatever. Okay. And now you're saying they're stupid, that's dumb. And then old narratives start to run, all that money, and they're still acting like that. Money only amplifies who you are. Right. So now that perpetual, rich people are horrible is going on in your mind in the morning, and it's all because you checked your phone and going through your news feed. Now, if you're similar to me, your newsfeed is a bunch of positivity and dogs and makeup and travel, luxury and travel. My newsfeed include dogs, various dogs, a lot of dogs, makeup companies, travel, luxury lifestyle, okay, and a lot of spiritual motivational things. And I love it. I love it. Okay. Very seldom do I see some drama, and it's usually because not usually, it's because someone is reposting from that person's page. So I would say maybe 1% I would see drama. All right. So friends, when it, I need to take a sip. I need to take a sip on this one. All right. Strategies for this space, because this will impact your inner and external peace. When I hear someone say, so and so made me mad, and this person has been making them mad over and over and over again, at that point, they're not making you mad. You're allowing them to make you mad. If you're dealing with friends who are constantly putting you in situations where you're at a restaurant, they don't want to pay the bill, and or it's just an awkward situation, or they try to tell you, oh, this is going on, that's going on, they're getting entitled. So many things are going on while you're working, you're creating, you're doing different things to grow and expand, and they're still in this cycle of drama, and it's not even fun drama. It's not even, because there's good things. There's good drama where it's, oh, let me tell you about this guy I met, and it was so, we had like this crazy night. I fell in this like pool. It was crazy, and we just had so much fun. It was just good fun. And he asked me out on a date. I just met him at this gathering with friends, and we were dancing, and I just like backed up and again backed up, fell into this little pool, and we laughed. That's fun. It's like, oh my gosh, like you just met this guy, you were dancing, and then like you tripped on something, and now it's just like that's funny. That's funny. Or like I met these people, this older couple, they were just so funny. They were telling me about the longevity of relationships, and they just had so many funny, cool stories. And so it's not necessarily drama, but it's entertainment. Okay. But then it could just go on to be something that's even more fun, right? That's different than someone telling you the same old, and it's not getting anywhere. That's not going to help your inner peace, because now, especially if you are close friends with this person, their problem, like Kevin Hart, when you sign up to be my best friend, your bullshit is my bullshit, and my bullshit is your bullshit. But in this case, let's say it's not your best friend, it's a close friend or someone you know for a long time. Eventually, you're going to get caught up in something that's not going to help your inner peace. I'm not saying they can't have a bad day or something can't happen. What I'm saying is, people who are constantly doing stupid things, or they're just not doing anything. I don't like to be around people who aren't doing anything. You have to be changing, growing, expanding something. So you have to pay attention who you are hanging around. All right. It's crucial. And what's even more crucial is when you have to let certain people go. A lot of people don't want to do that, and it's hard, but that's what you got to do for your inner peace, because they're going to bring drama to your doorstep, whether you realize it or not. One day they will, and it's going to be something where you do not want to be part of that. All right. So exploring mindfulness techniques and practices for grounding and centering, you and your lifestyle. So mindfulness techniques. I like to, at the end of the day, review my day. For example, when I'll talk about, well, at the time of this recording, it was yesterday, but when this goes live, it's going to be a week or two. So I went shopping. I got my skincare products. I got my Fenty. All right. Smelling like cherries. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to get into that. I should do a updated podcast of episode of Tia's favorites, because I talked about Fenty skincare. I love it. So I bought a bunch of Fenty skincare products. I treated myself to a pair of shoes, which is amazing because I haven't gone shoe shopping in a very long time. So I got a nice pair of shoes, things like that. And then I met up with a friend for dinner, several things. I did some work. And at the end of the night, I thought, okay, was I really productive today? And I wanted to record this episode, but then I was actually in a lot of pain. So I was taking the evening a little slow, and I ended up falling asleep. So I had to record the next day. And that's part of the things that I do. I like to evaluate my day. Was I productive? Could I have done more? Okay. And that's one. Another thing I do is I become highly aware of my thoughts. So being mindful, that mindful practice of And what I'm thinking true? Is what I'm thinking helpful? Am I beating myself up? But the other day I had a call with my project manager, and I did have a little bit of a pity party. And it was just for a couple of minutes. And then my project manager was like, all right. All right. Right. And that's the thing, to be mindful of what you're doing, what you're saying, doing some reflection on your day, understanding just what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And there are other ways to be mindful as well. The things I found to be the most helpful is when you are reevaluating things, when you're just looking back, okay, how did I spend my time today? All right. I think that part right there would be the most helpful question you can ask yourself regarding mindfulness, because you can take that and do better the next day. You can now take that and know, okay, I have these time gaps. How can I maximize my time? It's important. All right. So the other half of that, the grounding, there are many ways you can ground. Now, depending on your location, you may be able to go to a wooded area and get connected with trees. You may be going to I like being by water and air. So when I'm high up, I love it. And it's just, you get the most beautiful air when you're just on a rooftop. I love it, especially at night when I'm by water. That water air is just it's so beautiful. That's how I ground. Now, I also imagine uh, roots coming from the soles of my feet going to the ground. All right, that's a form of meditation. When I'm on a beach, I dig my feet into the sand a little bit, feel that warmth, and just get connected that way. There are multiple ways to get grounded. Even I like walking on warm grass. Don't walk on a wet, cold grass. I've done that. It just feels icky. It's horrible. But walking on grass that's warm, it gets you connected with the earth. And there's scientific studies done about getting connected to the earth with your bare feet. So you can definitely look into that more. So there are multiple ways to do this. Understand yourself. Okay. Understand how you are more inclined to get grounded, and then understand that there are multiple ways to do that. So if you feel like getting grounded in a different way, it's because you need that particular type of grounding. And this helps your inner peace, because we absorb so much throughout the day. There's been studies proven as well that when we walk outside, let's say, and let's just say you just walk down the street, your mind, your subconscious mind, well, your cognizant mind, or not cognizant, your conscious mind picks up on everything, and then it gets stored down to your subconscious. And this is one of the reasons why we only remember a few things. For example, you might say, if someone asked you, hey, so how was the walk? And you might say, oh yeah, it was nice. Like, I saw a dog, somebody was walking their border collie, and somebody was like playing this really loud music coming down the street, young people. It wasn't even necessary. But your subconscious mind, if someone were to hypnotize you and then ask you, hey, how was your walk? What did you see? You will be able to tell them everything. Oh, it was a red car. The dog had a blue collar on, and blah, 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 blah. We pick up on everything. It just gets stored in our mind. So when you are out and about, you're energetically having it stored. And even if, say, you're talking to someone and you have a disagreement or something that you don't like, that's being stored. So you need to get rid of all that excess energetic debris. And when you are grounding yourself, when you are releasing all that extra energies, all that jazz, it gets released. You're cleansing your aura, you're cleansing yourself. Okay. And that is something that is so refreshing, because imagine it like when you are cooking, and different grease is being used, and the smells of different foods. What are you going to do? You're going to want to wash your face and wash your hair, right? Because it picked up on it, even though you didn't jump in the pot or pan and rub all the ingredients on you, right? But just the fumes, right? It becomes like an aerosol, right? Because you smell the food, it smells wonderful, but it does get in your hair, right? And your face is exposed to that, so you need to wash your face. So it's like that. You got to wash your face, wash your hair, clean, wash your clothes because it gets in the fabrics, right? So it's like that on an energetic level. You have to cleanse your aura. And you can do that also by listening to 432 hertz music. So it's a great way to cleanse your aura. That is a great contributor to grounding. All right. So let's talk about your lifestyle because this is what will help. So your lifestyle, a lot of it has to do with what you're eating, how you're dressing, how you communicate. So let's just have a quick chat about this. So one thing I love is I'm going to spray some more of this ritual spray. One thing I love is looking at people's Instagram pages who are all about luxury. I love the luxury lifestyle. Okay. And I love it. One reason why I love it because it's the vibe, number one. Number two, the way it looks is just so beautiful. And many times, or at least the women who I follow, and some men too, they really take a lot of time. They're committed to this. And that's what I like to see when people are committed to a lifestyle. And it could be exercising, right? Eating healthy. That's another form of commitment. Seeing people who do the meal prep, or they put their food up, they will wash their fruits and their vegetables and they put it in really nice plates and they put it in the refrigerator in such a beautiful way. And they tell you, well, this is for this, and this helps with fighting cancer causing, whatever. I love it. I like to think of how that can apply to me when I look at things like that. Okay, so for example, someone has a big, beautiful home. There's marble, there's the gold color silverware, there's the state of the art, whatever machine to make your cafes, there's whatever, your coffee, lattes, whatever. Just the countertops, that inspires me. And it helps to give me ideas because the thing is, sometimes we don't know that that is a thing. Like, oh, wait, that's a lifestyle, or wait, I can do that. So I don't get jealous. I think that's a waste of time. That's crazy. I get inspired and I look at, wow, it's something that I can work towards, or it's something that, what can I get similar to that at my level? Or how can I make that a theme for me? Like what aspects of that? And so when you're looking at your lifestyle, when you are going to say, let's look at health and luxury, your lifestyle is going to help to dictate your inner peace. So when you are designing your home and you make it in a way that is appealing to you, as opposed to, oh, I'm just going to get this couch and I'm just going to get this table. But what if you took a little more time to do just a little more research and hold off a little longer to get a table that you really like? And I'm not saying you had to go get the most expensive table, but what if you can get something that is more of a reflection of what you like right now, as opposed to getting just any old thing? How much more will your world be at peace if you get the colors that you really want to get? If you get the things that you want to get or something similar, as opposed to just selling for anything? And I get sometimes it's just a matter of, oh, I need this now, so I'm just going to get this. That's fine. I'm not talking about the exceptions. Okay. And health. What if you invest a little bit more money towards something that's healthier for you? What if you got a juicer that it might cost a little extra than what you wanted to pay for? But what if you look at it like this? Well, this is going to contribute to my health more than any other thing that I'm doing right now. So it's worth it in the long run. That's the thing. This isn't about just the short-term gratification. The short-term gratification would be when you get that machine in the color that you like. It's like, oh, yes, the long term is the health benefits. For example, with my soda stream, I drink more water than I ever drunk because I love carbonated water. as opposed to just regular water, which is why getting that was just like, okay, cool, not a problem. Now for other people, it's like, that's a waste. I'm not doing that. I don't like carbonated water. That's fine. This is about what's best for you. Right. So really start to think about your lifestyle and how that just gives you another level of peace. Because when I'm drinking my water, I'm drinking it intentionally. So I'm speaking into my water and I'm drinking more water, and our bodies are mostly made up of water. So what do you think is going to happen to me, for me in the long run? Luxury, wealth, abundance, love, safety, all these things, wisdom, all these things I'm speaking into my water, because it's all about the long game. So really think about your lifestyle when it comes to your inner peace. Don't think of it as just these little fragments of, oh, I'm going to have peace here, but this is going to be disruptive because I can't possibly worry about that now. No, start looking at it across the board. Okay, across the board, and take on these things one by one or two by two, however you can take on, but really start to understand how your lifestyle plays into this, even down to the clothes, because dressing is another thing. I have my own personal branding. So you will not see me in certain colors, not because I don't like those colors, and some colors I don't mind, but it's just not my favorite color. I have my brand, my personal brand colors. I'm wearing them, right? It complements my hair color. Okay. That these are the colors that I am choosing to wear. They are my favorite colors. And there's a little bit of a spectrum with it. I have a purple blazer I just bought that it's not the typical purple I would wear, but it's in that color scheme. But you most likely won't see me wearing yellow unless it's part of a color mix of in a shirt that I'm wearing. So start to understand clothing, your personal brand, how you want to dress, how you want to look, because this is what people are going to take note of. Again, as I was saying, our conscious mind is going to go to the subconscious. They're going to pull all this data, okay, and then they're going to determine how they're going to address you. And I know that might sound mean, like, Tia, oh, that shouldn't matter. You got to understand that we are hardwired for certain things. This is why when we see people dress a certain way, we're trying to figure out, do we need to fight or run, fight or flight, right? Like, okay, what's the vibe of this person? How are they dressed? Oh, okay. All right. I can see their face. Okay, let's start there. Right. So it's also part of our brain trying to figure out how to address someone so we know what to do. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean, be a jerk with people, but I'm just saying, just at the core, our minds are trying to figure out how to react to different situations. So start to develop that vibe that you want to put out there. And that goes along with what you're eating. Because when you eat better, you start to feel better internally. Like, imagine when you're drinking water, cold water, early in the morning, or just when you really need it, it feels so good internally, right? Then you relax, you're like, I feel better. So imagine you start to eat better, you're exercising more, you're dressing better, you're focusing on your lifestyle, how you want your life to look. What do you think will happen? You're going to have more peace. Your boundaries are going to be so well intact that people aren't going to be able to just walk into your life and ruin or disrupt things. Okay, this is why it's important to look at your lifestyle. So start to understand the lifestyle that you want. Give it a name. It could be health and wellness, luxury. Some people are saying the soft life, the travel life. I have some friends that are very well traveled. They don't go on holidays. They are travelers. Okay. All right. That is the difference. So start to understand this, because you are formulating your new reality. And that's going to be such a great level of inner peace in this chaotic world where people want you to live in a box and don't want you to do certain things. So this is something truly to focus on. And also, I just want to say, I don't mind a bit of chaos. It can be fun because sometimes things need to be destroyed, built, rebuilt, and that comes from chaos, right? It's not pretty to create things. A lot of times, you got to figure out how is this going to work. There are setbacks, things go sideways, and then eventually you have your beautiful creation. So it's not always neat and pretty, and that's okay. So chaos isn't always a bad thing. It becomes bad when, as I was saying earlier, people want you to care about things that really isn't your business. When people are bringing their drama to your doorstep, but they don't want to change, they basically just want to hand off their madness so they can continue to do more madness, things like that. That's the wrong type of chaos. All right. So we talked about the practices and things like that, and things to avoid. So also keep in mind, you can do self-care rituals. I talked about that in many episodes. So, really determine the self-care ritual that you need that's best for you. And there are several rituals that you can do for that. All right. Always have a sense of gratitude. Sometimes you need to surrender to certain things. And surrender meaning you just got to know when to walk away, when not to think about it, when not to let that consume your thoughts. Sometimes you have to give yourself closure. Okay. It's like the example of when someone breaks up with their boyfriend and they want to have this like sit down talk with them and things like that. And you had to ask yourself, were you guys communicating much during the relationship? Do you think you're going to get that closure you truly want? You again, maybe he will sit down and say, yeah, this wasn't working out. I tried, but you're very difficult to talk to. So I just stopped talking. And that could be an eye opener for you. But what I'm saying is it takes a lot of evaluation to figure out this. It can be done, but you have to understand how you are showing up and the things that you are also doing that may not be contributing to your inner peace, and see how you can change that to make your inner peace a consistent thing. Okay. Alrighty. So wrapping this up, there are always going to be obstacles for you to overcome. That's life. It's life. It's not going to stop. It will get easier, but there's always going to be something. Okay. Always have that gratitude. Okay. There, because inner peace is something that is obtained through a lot of hard work, a lot of work. So, be grateful for how far you have come. Be grateful of what you have learned. Be grateful for the people who are now no longer in your life, because the thing is, it's good to find out who people are before you get to that really successful point, because you don't want certain people around you who really aren't for you, but they're on the plane, they're at the restaurant, they're in your home, and the whole time they're just underhanded. You don't want people around you who you have to think about, suspicion wise. Okay. It's not healthy. It's not good for your inner peace. Don't keep people around because you know them since the third grade or whatever. You're going to have to let people go. I can't stress that enough. You're not going to have inner peace. I don't care how much inner work you've done or continue to do. If you're in the same environment with the same people, or different environment, but same people, you're going to run into the same problems. All right. This also means checking yourself. You're going to also have to change how you're thinking and how you're moving. You are also not going to stay the same. All right. So always focus on that. Reevaluate the things that you are doing. Make sure that you are being consistent and being committed to yourself. Make sure you are defining things in your life that you can, reference, that you can continue to implement in your life. And don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of expanding and growing. You're not here to kind of sort of do it, and also you didn't get to a certain place just to stay at a certain place in most cases. Okay. Sometimes you are part of something and maybe your role is to do one thing, such as when you're part of a club and you're okay with that. That's fine. That's your role. What I'm talking about is in your life overall, right? You're always going to be growing and expanding. And when you're not doing that, something in you is going to signify, hey, get back to you, get back to having that sense of wonder and wandering and get things done. And, don't stop, keep going, keep going, keep going. And there will always be reasons not to continue. There will always be someone who just can't wait to tell you about why you shouldn't do something. All right. Until you get to a point where you have such a close knit group of friends that when you do want to do something or you have something on your mind, you can have these authentic conversations where they will present different scenarios, perspectives, and so forth to you that will help you to bring things together and then make a solid decision when you are going through that process. Okay. So these are ways to help you navigate this world, this chaotic world, maintain your inner peace. All right. And again, it doesn't mean when someone hits you or does something that is egregious, that you just go namaste or something like that. No, sometimes people have to get checked. Sometimes people have to get checked. Okay. But what I'm saying is, this isn't about being reactive. It's about, I see where you're going with this. I know where you're coming from. I'm not going to engage. However, I will express myself in this way. I will break down um, the actual scenario. For example, when you see people talking, someone's just getting really heated and their name calling and saying these things, and you see someone who is just really serene, they're just in like a serenity mode, and they let the person get it out, or they would interrupt them and say, wait a minute, that's not true, but they're just very even tone. It's like that. And sometimes they may get a little bit like, wait a minute now, little umph to what they're saying, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes people see that and they go, oh, they got triggered. No, they weren't triggered. They're passionately talking, right? There's a difference. So keep that in mind. Focus on your lifestyle. Focus on what that internal peace looks like for you. All right. Remember, you're consciously making this decision to be calm, right? Not calm to the point where you're not speaking up, you're not saying anything, is that you're not also going to lose your mind, right? You're not also going to resort to name calling and try to get personal, right? You're going to make your point, and you're not going to get so emotionally involved that your point gets lost or you can't make a point at all. All right. So that's what I have for you to help you remain calm, or at least have that inner peace in a world that wants you to be so emotionally involved in all the things that really have no impact on your life. Okay, so be aware of those emotional vampires. All right, I am rooting for you, sending you so many blessings, lots of love. Remember to be kind to yourself. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in, Magical One. Visit my website at tiamariejohnson.com to subscribe to my newsletter and be the first to know about upcoming guests and exciting events. As always, I'm sending you lots of love and many blessings. I'm rooting for you, and remember to be kind to yourself. Until next time.